honoring 4 young colleagues for exceptional achievements, and we are welcoming in our midst 2 people, Marlene Roux and Manfred Zylla, through an object that will henceforth be on display in the reception room adjacent to our seminar room. I wish to say something about these 2 individuals and then also something about the object, the Pieta, that connects them. Marlene Roux is a friend, an inspirational leader, an artist, a champion for disability rights, a struggle veteran. She's a living embodiment of the idea that tragedy and pain do not lead to inevitable victimhood, but that it is how one lives with pain and tragedy that provides life with the vibrant colors of living. Manfred Zylla is a friend, an artist, a fearless commentator on injustice. Having grown up in among the ruins of a defeated Germany at the end of the Second World War, he has devoted a life's work to visual representation of a reality that is often too difficult to face in its full brutality. In the painting which we unveil today in our space, we invite an object that allows us to contemplate suffering, pain, and tragedy in a manner that makes it possible for us to do so by the act of giving it artistic form and thus transforming it. Manfred's Pieta references an entire Western tradition of visual depiction of compassion over more than half a millennium associated with the Virgin Mary cradling a suffering Jesus. As such, it speaks to a morality associated with a Christian narrative of suffering and redemption. But in this artwork, the Christian narrative is both referenced and deconstructed. Depicted on a wicker chair in front of a vivid blue and red drape is not a symbol, but a coloured woman who grew up in Wellington, South Africa, with a brace on her leg. Cradled in her lap is not the Messiah, but her son, Adam George, who suffered from cerebral palsy. The glance of Marlene is filled with compassion. Her naked breast is unsensual, maternal, and nourishing. The tableau is placed as a snapshot, a picture in a halo, depicting the scene of maternal protection as a holy and complete. This constitutes a geometric shape in stark contrast to the squares that otherwise constitute the triptych, squares filled with writing. The story told by the writing is a biography, one that tells of the mother and child and how they came to be who they are and were, and how the pose of the mother and child is in fact a heroic one. Running straight through all 3 panels is a straight red line, an arrow. It points to a sentence in the text that reads, "Thus the seed was sowed to breed my insecurity." Apart from its obvious meaning on the inculcation of vulnerability, the arrow as gesture asks the viewer to consider the text as context, to reflect on the relationship between artistic tradition, depiction, and the lived world. It asks us to contemplate art and to do so as a way of understanding the pain and suffering of the world. As clinicians and as academics, we have a direct interest in being reminded on a daily basis of the fragility of life, of the preciousness thereof, of the tradition in which human narratives of suffering and redemption continue to form part of our and our patients' lives and reference our practice, of the way in which particular histories and our collective history as South Africans invade our sense of comfort and disrupt our scientific composure. It's necessary for us to understand also how pain and struggle is given form, is transformed in creative acts. For not all pain can be made to disappear, and not all suffering can be cured. It is a privilege to have a major work of art by a major artist on permanent display in our space of education and contemplation. And it is a privilege amplified by having the subject of this work here in person, in presence of the artist. But most importantly, it is a privilege that the memory of Adam has found a home here. Precisely because his life reminds us that connecting with people is important, that all life always has purpose, that every human being is part of a rich tapestry of living. Our memory of Adam, his power to let you be you, Marlene, will remind us every time we use this room that we also have the power to allow other people to be or become themselves. This is not only a message central to our sense of who we are and what we do as clinicians, it is also central to our being in the human world as human beings. I would now like to introduce Adam's mother, Marlene Roux, the CEO of Artscape, to address us.
Yes, it's ours is a free country. I think I must breathe first. And I have the tradition because it predicts. I'm so overwhelmed with everybody first of all program. And I first want to anchor myself. I can just sing as well with my song. Because this is how I've connected with the world of the creator. It is well with my soul, with my soul, it is well. It is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well. It is well. It is well with my soul. And today I would like to welcome you, and I first want to welcome a very important person in my life. It's Amy. Amy, it's also a day. It's for us to say it is well with our soul, because we have an angel that is put in my lap and in your lap and in his father's lap. We're not speaking of the past, because we all believe in ancestry, and we all believe he is amongst us. It is just that he has moved on. And today, Amy, I want to say I'm so proud of you, because you were only 5 when Adam was born, and you never saw Adam differently. You just embrace Adam. And this is today also what we want to say to you. Thank you. A special welcome to Manfred, that felt it fit, because he was always a struggle activist commentary about our brutal history. And he depicts this particular painting of hope, from where we come from brutalization to hope. And this is what this painting is about. Thank you, Manfred, that you saw that this can be for generations a message that everybody's lives matter, because this is what this painting is about. Another special persons in my life is the people who are not suffering with disability. I just want to make it clear. Whose life, who just every day are faced with that The world is not catering for us that is differently abled. And how we need to navigate our lives and with happiness. And Yulene, thank you for coming because I've learned so much from you. For Jabbar, thank you, my friend. To Eugene, thank you, my friend, because it is the world that doesn't want to give jobs to people that is just different. But there's nothing wrong because we're first of all breathing and we're human beings. And that is what this painting is about. Connie, thank you very much for representing our government here. Connie September, thank you for being here because it's this message that needs to come forward. Be privileged. I'm a privileged woman with a disability. And Adam was a privileged boy. He was the most spoiled human being on earth because we've done everything for us, for him. I wanted to say a special welcome also to all my friends that is here, in particular to his godmother, Lucia, yes. And I want to say, Father, my special father is not a father just for spirituality, because Father will remind me all the time. It is Arch that came today. He plays such a vital role in my life. There's a lot of the AFS which you reprimanded, the Anglican Student Federation, so that they here today. Jonathan Lord is here, Shalice is here. A lot of them here, Arch. There's a lot of trouble, but they're here, we still walk the talk. Thank you that you were the inspiration for us to walk the talk. To the SBR family that is here, thank you that we can do literacy program, but also that we're doing now with neuro challenge young people, SBR's for Stichting vir Bemagtiging deur Afrikaans, where we go out to young children and we read. It's about reading, it's about empowering, it's about dignity. And I see my friend Berenice have made it through the difficulties of Zylla ride. Thank you, Berenice, because he sent me a text. She can't make it because of Zylla ride. Viva Zylla ride is here. Fighting Zylla ride. A special welcome and a thank you to Almi, who takes it's genius. She's just a genius. But to say that because our work is not just about the body, it's about humanity. And it's about not being an object that you matter. And it's not taking that scalpel in your hand and just opening up the body. It's a person with a soul, a person with a mind, and it's a person with dignity. Thank you that you felt it fit to fight the fight in this hospital, that we must hang here, so that it is not just a space of suffering, because Adam's life was not just suffering, it was also a life of joy and light. And that is why I would like to say, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of Manfred and myself, thank you that we can unveil this year today. To the other two professors that is here that walked the talk as well, Teresa and Marsha, that changed the way of thinking of not just being activists, but change how we need to think as researchers, and Julie at the back, that researchers can't just be researchers. It should be relevant and it should be implemented. And this is what it is about today. To the ArtsCap team, thank you for being here, because the arts, it's about beauty, but it's not just about beauty. It's about what stories must be told. And what does it say today? It is honoring for me the painting of my friend Manfred. Manfred, it will be permanent, a basis of Groote Hospital. But it's not just at Groote, it's for everybody. To the surgeons that is sitting here today, I hope this painting will inspire you that everybody matters that's going to lie. I've been through lots of operations. And then I've decided, oh, it's also, I want you to laugh also today, you know, yes, people making jokes of things. It's like, I've decided at a young age, because because I contracted polio when I was 3 months old. And the doctors will come in, and that time it was still Princess Alice home. And can you still remember Berenice? And then we must, with young students, everybody's undressed. Yeah. Then they will analyze, but they won't ask your mother how she feels. Then she would take four trains from Wellington just to get to Princess Alice home. 4 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't have a car. They were farm workers. So they will abba me. There's Clint, my nephew, sitting here. They will abba me and relay community. So I'm a community child. Because otherwise they would have never got Princess Alice home. Getting there was still the apartheid separation. I can still smell and taste the P of this is for whites and this is for blacks. No one would ask my mother, did she have a cup of tea? And then the doctors will go 11 o'clock for tea. Then we will sit there since 6 o'clock in the morning. No one asks us 4 o'clock. So this painting is about it must never ever happen to anybody ever again. But then I've decided, okay, when I was like a teenager, hello, my friends here, Jolene from Wellington is also here. I'll decide, okay, I'm going to tease them now after become empowered art. I'm going to put myself in lingerie. Right? So that they can see this is a beautiful woman. Right? So that they can say, okay, she's not an object, she must, and I can see the young doctors looking at me and saying, got it. So, the reason why I made that statement is you matter. You're not just a polio sufferer that needs to get. And today, this morning, I said to my friend, Dr. Lucia, yes, it threw me off because last night my other caliper broke. And I was thinking about my mobility. My God, my mobility is gone. So what did I do this morning? I needed to go to the orthopedic to put the rivets in this old one, give the new one back, the rivets in order for me to be mobile. The reason why I'm telling you the story is everything is in context, people. It's how your attitude is going to determine how you're going to navigate. So it's not just about the painting. It's about our attitudes that needs to change in how we look at people. And it's not just, I'm using the story, it's not just persons with disabilities. It's also persons that has a different language, that has a different religion, has different faith base, has different way of looking, has different way of sexual orientation. I'm just using the tool of disability so that we can speak about being accepted in life. There is a writer and he's writing a blog, Dr. Mayron, that is also here today, about the pain and the suffering, also about the body, which is not just suffering, but it's also about this artwork. Manfred said, I use art as a tool to confront reality. I use art as a tool to get to know the world in which I live. And I use art as a tool to experience my own reality within the world at which I live. Isn't it just absolutely wonderful? I think you forgot that you wrote that and said that. So just remind me that you did that. And my friend Richard, who's from England, but who's now relocated to UKZN, who's also an artist and a writer, also reminded me of this. The suffering of pain, this physical, psychological, social, emotional, and spiritual experience of it in one's body is so often an incomplete narrative of a person's life. You can relate, you read. I enjoy reading stories since the good novelists have the knack to capture everyday human experience in words that shine a certain light, a texture of life that is mostly missing in academic articles and books. It's the stories of other people that we can relate to. And Arch is one of those people that tells stories, that relates to stories, that relates to the human being. If we can't relate to each other, then we are empty vessels. Then we are just not having blood running through our veins, and we become egotistic. In 2018, the Polish writer Olga Turkasuk writes this about pain. A thing reaches completion and internal process is finalized, eliminating all that is unnecessary, that is why it hurts, but it's just the pain of purging. That's one dimension of pain as merely pain. People used to see Adam's life as painful. My good grief, I had joy. Amy had joy out of her. His father had joy. People come to sit with Adam. We used to experience this. My friends used to experience it from Wellington. Adam was the psychologist of Boston because Adam they would take Adam for walks, and people would tell their deepest stories to Adam. They didn't realize that the nurses will come and tell me that the husband has an affair because they would tell Adam. And then I realized people need an outlet to speak to somebody that doesn't speak back, that only have their interest. Because what do I do if I tell Jabbar about my pain? I already construct in my mind how I'm going to tell somebody about my pain who's bigger than that person's pain. So Adam has taught me one lesson, and especially even the man who comprised Lady Olga Tarusuk, is that we all experience pain differently. And how do you deal with your challenges? Merle, you simply a miracle to survive a heart attack. And you could have decided at this young age that this heart attack is just going to immobilize you. You decide it's not going to happen. So today, Merle, it's also about we give tribute to your life today. The unveiling of the Pieta with Adam lying on the lap of me, who lives with the effects. I live with post-police syndrome. I sometimes can't get up. There's still a lot of research, Roux and the Roux that needs to be done, but I'm your walking research. Okay? So sometimes, Father, I can't get up, but then I must say, okay, lie a little bit, because the brain must first connect now to the different things, and then I can get up. But it's not a solid sight. And then Amy must also sometimes come and help, because it is about what you give of yourself. The Pieta of love has now found a home. But I would like to say so rightfully, Dr. Jacob Meyer says, he calls it the Pieta of love. Thank you, Jacob, that in your blog you refer to Adam as the Pieta of love, and how he experiences our body differently. And you were the first PhD of the Arch with the Frey University. It was a joint PhD, and the chair of the two PhDs at the theology at the Frey University, which the Arch endorsed, and Jacob is written about the Pieta of love. But body mapping was especially how we experience pain. So Arch, again, one of your scholars is also here today, not just the Amanda Boys. Also one of your PhDs are here today. And I want to end up also by saying is that it found a home because it traveled to Cuba and to and fro. It had a home all over the world. Manfred, through the name of Manfred Zylla, came home to the right place, to Groote, so that mothers from the rural areas can find hope, can say, but they can only find hope if there's equity and equality. And with equality, we can all be one. But with equity, we mean with resources. If with the resources, there's no empathy and understanding that the mother is pivotal and the carer, not just the doctor. It is a circle that needs to be completed. And that child and that mother and carer is in the middle. because they're the one that cares and give the love. So equity is about whether that young child and young has access to the best medical care, which I feel is at our provincial government hospitals. Thank you, Almi, that you've decided. I'm not talking to you as a professor because you're a humanitarian, that you're going to stay at Groote and at Tygerberg Hospital and at Kalbrema, because that is what matters, not just the private hospitals. This is where you make the difference of the people, as long as you're prepared to wait, because it equalizes everybody. And that is what equity is about. Equity is about resources. Equity is about empathy. Equity is not to say I'm tolerating. Equity is to say I'm going to walk with you this path to understand how did you get to the hospital and how am I going to ensure that I'm giving you the right information to get where you need to be. And I want to say to you that the creation of this drawing and the painting took Manfred months to do. And the writings behind that, Stephanus, you know, you are Manfred's greatest fan, although you're a professor of music at Stellenbosch University. Thank you also for holding Manfred's hand and to Paul that's here today. Manfred wrote every single letter himself, and it came out of the book of Look at Me, and it's about 24 women, and Nila Roux, whose sister Unida, we also pay tribute to Unida, who passed on, was in the book, that also couldn't speak, talk, but had a full life, which is also in the book. The models of the book, Berenice Peffer and Julene is also here today. The book is Look at Me. And it was about beauty, it was about stories, and it is about stories which we want to tell the world that irrespective of disability, we matter. And this painting today is about this. Every human being who breathes matters and needs to be taken into account with equity, equality, and empathy. None of us can live without love, because at the end, it is love that matters. I would like to call forward Manfred, Amy, and then they are the flowers. I want to say thank you to Father that sent a bunch of flowers to me yesterday. Thank you, Father. Father sends me actually every month a note and flowers. I'm the most loved woman. We are boyfriend and girlfriend. Now it's in the open. And I would like to call Johan, who's from Friends Daycare Center, who looks after young Adams of the world, and their parents have nothing. I want to wish that this painting will inspire you to contribute, even if it's a 50 rand, to Friends Daycare Center. It's the only daycare centers that caters for all disabilities. But transport, a buggy, a meal, a carer costs so much money. I was a privileged woman who had a job that could give Adam everything. But if you're a mother who lives in Edinburgh at the 4th floor, and if you're a mother that lives in a shack, doesn't Adam, life is not easy. And I want to say today, I want to give tribute to them, because they don't have paintings that are veiled. They don't have friends like you today and doctors like Albi that believes, and Manfred and Amy that brings me tissues. Because life is hard for them. Because most of the time, family and friends disappear. And also their partners disappear. And today, the tribute is not Adam and Anna. Today, the tribute is to the mothers that no one speaks about, and to the Adams that is invisible. It's for them. And a group of friends has gathered money for Johan in memory of Adam. And Jolie, you actually represent them here today. You can come forward. And they come from Mary, Wanda, Sherry Solomon, Corinne, Naomi, Michelle, Jolie, Lexi, and Anthea. And I want Jolie to hand over this. She is here. Where's the flowers? And the Consul General of France is also here. We can't have now a translator for you. We will already have for my dead French. Bonjour. Always fight. Then I would like to hand over for my red love to Arch. Now my turn, this is my love to you. Yes. Thank you. And this is for Almi. You can have an idea, then it can never materialize. She had an idea and she rallied around it. And we thought Manfred and I, we came to this boy, we thought, down. 2 years ago, it's not going to happen. Sorry, we must confess now. We had numerous discussions how the doctors are nothing to allow us. But because of your kindness and the way you do things, in your silentness and in your just calmness, you've decided to be an activist. And this is for you. And let this grow. And this is just to say. He actually painted this Pieta. He wants to say it himself. But I forgot about my friend Lydia Beats. She didn't bring my boyfriend with. She is a mother that also loved cerebral palsy. Her son also has cerebral palsy, and he always wears a wonderful necklace, a chain, because he's a rapper. So Lydia, that's for you. You want to say something? Jabbar, you will hear now why.
Okay, I just want to say that I grew up also with parents, the most deaf. So possible that has spoken in my life. Because I was born 1939, and my mother actually almost been sterilized by the Nazis. But my grandfather had to fight for my mother, so that she not considered she grew too healthy boys. She was still alive.